Dear children, today we'll discuss about very important topic, that is cell, EMF, terminal potential difference and internal resistance of a cell. First, come to know what is a cell. Cell, you remember, it is a device that converts chemical energy to the electrical energy. So you see, it is a cell. In the cell, you have electrolyte and you have two electrodes. One is your positive electrode, the other one is your negative electrode. So when you connect the two electrodes by an external load, you will get current will pass through this external resistance. In which direction the current will pass? From positive terminal or from the positive electrode of the cell to the negative electrode of the cell through the external resistance. Then what is the symbol? The symbol of the cell, it is the symbol of the cell. It is the positive terminal and it is the negative terminal. And here you see, between positive terminal and negative terminal, there is a gap. That gap represents the presence of electrolyte in the cell. You see, between positive terminal and negative terminal, or you can say positive electrode or negative electrode of this cell, you have electrolyte. So it is the electrolyte. This gap represents the presence of electrolyte between the two electrodes or in between two terminals of the cell. So now you see, when the current goes from positive terminal to the negative terminal of the cell through the external resistance, then you see the current will not stop at here. The current will flow from negative terminal to the positive terminal through the electrolyte. So you remember, when the current will pass through the electrolyte of this cell from negative terminal to the positive terminal, then electrolyte offers some opposition. That opposition is called as internal resistance. Internal resistance. So now this internal resistance is supposed to be connected in series with the cell. This internal resistance you are getting from inner part of the, why it is called as internal? Because this resistance you are getting from inner part of this cell. That's why it is called as internal resistance. And this internal resistance is supposed to be connected in series with the cell. Now what is the difference between a cell and a battery? You remember, a battery is a combination of a number of cells. What is the symbol of the battery? Battery symbol is this one. It is the symbol of a battery. It is the combination of a number of cells. So now come to, or you can directly represent battery like this. It is the symbol of the battery. So now come to, upon which factors the internal resistance depends. So definitely, as this internal resistance smaller, is from the electrolyte of the cell, so it depends upon the nature of the electrolyte. First, internal resistance depend upon the nature of the electrolyte. Number 2, it depends upon the concentration of the electrolyte. More is the concentration of the electrolyte, more is the opposition offered by the electrolyte, that means more is the internal resistance. And also depends upon the distance between the two electrodes. Distance between two electrodes. If more is the distance between the two electrodes, that means the current has to pass more length of the electrolyte. So definitely internal resistance will increase. So internal resistance of a cell is directly proportional to the distance between the two electrodes of the cell. Then area of the electrodes immersed in the electrolyte. More is the area of the electrolyte dipped into the more is the area of the electrode dipped into the electrolyte, more is the charge carrier passes through the electrolyte. So definitely current will get more, that means internal resistance is less. That means internal resistance decreases with increase in the area of the electrode immersed in the electrolyte. Then is your temperature. Then how internal resistance depends upon the temperature of the electrolyte. So definitely when we increase the temperature of the electrolyte, then what happens? The intermolecular force of attraction decreases. That means the drift speed of the charged particles will increase. That means internal resistance of a cell decreases with increasing temperature of the electrolyte. So now come to E.M.F of a cell. What is E.M.F of a cell? E.M.F full form is electromotive force. You remember, it is not force. Initially, when the concept of E.M.F, concept of electromotive force was not understood, then we call it as E.M.F. But actually, E.M.F is not the electromotive, it is not the force, it is the potential difference. So, now, what is the E.M.F? You have a cell, it is the external resistance, and it is the open circuit, it is the switch. When the circuit is open, then or no current is drawn from the cell, then the potential difference between the two terminals of the cell is called as E.M.F. Repeating again, what is E.M.F? It is the potential difference between the two terminals of a cell when no current is drawn from it or when the circuit is open. Then it is called as E.M.F. Then another definition you can give here, when the circuit is closed, then what happens? the current will flow. Just told that electromotive force is not the force, it is the potential difference. And you know the definition of potential difference, that is the work done per unit charge. So, in terms of work done, how can you define electromotive force? So, when you close the circuit, then current flows. Why current flows? To flow the current, this cell has to do work. Then, in terms of work done of the cell, how can you define? So, electromotive force or E.M.F of a cell is defined as the work done by the cell in moving a unit positive charge once around a complete circuit. That means suppose this point is A, this point is B. What is your electromotive force? That is, and inside the cell you have the internal resistance, let it be small r. So what is EMF? That is work done by this cell in moving a unit positive charge once around the complete circuit, means in moving the unit positive charge from A to B, plus work done by the cell in moving the positive unit positive charge from B to A. The total work done by the cell in moving a unit positive charge once around the complete circuit is called as EMF. So now come to terminal potential difference of a cell, that is T.P.D of a cell. What is terminal potential difference of a cell? When the circuit is closed, then you take the potential difference across the two terminals, then you will get the terminal potential difference. So what is terminal potential difference? It is the potential difference between the two terminals of a cell when current is drawn from it or when the circuit is closed. In terms of work done, how can we define terminal potential difference? That is, we are finding here terminal potential difference between the potential difference between the two terminals of the cell. That means here you can define the terminal potential difference of a cell is the amount of work done by the cell in moving a unit positive charge from one terminal of the cell to its other terminal. That is called as terminal potential difference. So now we will establish a relation between EMF, terminal potential difference, and internal resistance. A relation between EMF, terminal potential difference, terminal potential difference, and internal resistance of a cell. It is the cell and it is the internal resistance, it is the representation of internal resistance. Internal resistance is supposed to be connected in series with this cell, and it is the external resistance. This point is A, this point is B. Here A is one terminal of this cell, B is the other terminal of this cell, because this resistance is from inner part of the cell, not from outside. So now, when the circuit is closed, current is flowing. So you see, what is EMF? That is, you know, work done in moving a unit positive charge once around the complete circuit is equal to work done in moving the unit charge from A to B plus work done in moving the unit charge from B to A. Repeating again, work done in moving a unit positive charge once around the complete circuit, that equal to work done in moving the unit positive charge from A to B plus work done in moving the charge from B to A. That is, once around the complete circuit, that is called as E.M.F. From A to B means from one terminal of the cell to its other terminal, that is terminal potential difference, plus work done in moving the unit positive charge from B to A. B to A, that means this terminal to this terminal. Inside it you have the internal distance smaller. This R is from inside. So that work done per unit charge, that is the potential difference. So from B to A, what is the potential difference? That potential difference you can write it as B dash. So it is the potential drop in the internal resistance, because from B to A only you have internal resistance. So what is that drop? Potential drop in the resistance according to your Ohm's law, that V is equal to IR, that is I, which are from B to A, that is smaller IR. So here you got one of the important relation, that EMF is equal to terminal potential difference, V is your terminal potential difference plus I is smaller, or you can write V is equal to E minus IR. So now what is V? You see, from A to B, work done in moving unit positive charge, that means that the potential drop in external resistance. So you can write V is equal to IR. So from equation 1, you can write IR plus IR, that equal to I whole into R plus R, or I you can write E divided by R plus R. So now what is R? From equation 2, you can write IR is equal to E minus B, or small r is equal to E minus B by I, and from this equation I you can write V by R, so it is E minus B by V by R, so this is equal to E minus B by V whole into R. It is your expression for internal resistance. So now the graph between terminal potential difference of a cell and current flowing through it. Graph of V versus I. We know V is equal to E minus IR, that you can write minus IR plus E. You just relate this expression as Y is equal to minus MX plus C. What will be the graph? You take V along Y axis, I along X axis. As it is negative slope, here slope is R minus R. As it is negative slope, the graph will be like this. What is this value intercept? Intercept is your E in place of C. You have E, it is E. So now, what is the slope? Slope that equal to R. Slope is equal to internal resistance. So let us solve one question. Suppose you have a cell and it is the graph of terminal potential difference of this cell versus current flowing through it. Here let it be 10 and here let it be 2. It is 10 volt and it is 2 ampere, let it be. So now what is the EMF of this cell and internal resistance of this cell? So definitely this point is your EMF. EMF is your 10 volt. And what is the slope? Slope you know, it is the terminal, that is your internal resistance, smaller, that is slope is your change in y-axis by change in x-axis, that is 10 by 2, that equal to 5 ohm. Suppose if the question is asked, another question, you have 5 cells, they are connected like this, and it is the graph represents the potential difference across them and current drawn from them, and these 5 cells are identical. Identical means EMF and internal resistance, they are same. My question is asked, what is the EMF of each cell and internal resistance of each cell? So definitely it will be E equivalent. So E equivalent you got 10 volt as here 5 cells. So E plus E plus E plus E plus E, that's 5E. 5E is your 10 or E is equal to 2 volt. Similarly, here R equivalent, internal resistance equivalent, that is 5 ohm. Here there are 5 internal resistance connected in series, so it is 5R. 5R is equal to 5 or R is equal to 1 ohm. So here this cell we have discussed, that is the discharging of a cell. Here you see, in the discharging of a cell, what happens? Discharging of a cell, what happens? Let it is the cell and it is the external resistance and it is the internal resistance. This whole represents this cell. It is E, it is small r, it is capital R, is the external resistance. So in discharging, what happens? Current flows like this. That means current is drawn from positive terminal of the cell and it flows through the external resistance from positive terminal of the cell to the negative terminal. And what is charging of this cell? And in this case, that V is equal to, it is let this point A, this point B, then potential difference between A and B, that is terminal potential difference of this cell, that is E, it is positive terminal, so this minus this, that is E. Current, suppose I is flowing, so here I current flows from B to A, that means it is higher, it is lower. So from this terminal to this terminal, negative terminal to positive terminal means lower potential minus higher potential, that is negative minus higher. So that equation we have derived. Now come for charging of this cell. Charging of a cell. In charging of a cell, what happens? It is a cell of EMF E and internal resistance small r. When you want to charge this cell, then you connect the positive terminal of the source battery is to the positive terminal of this cell, and so what happens as it is source, so definitely current will be drawn from positive terminal of the source. So now you see current flows through this cell from positive terminal to the negative terminal through the electrolyte of this cell. Then what happens? What is the terminal potential difference of this cell? That is VA minus VB. That is, it is positive here. It is your charging of the cell. So in discharging, you see it is the discharging of this cell. Discharging, but this one is the charging. So you see, in discharging of this cell, current is drawn from the positive terminal of the cell. But discharging of this cell, you see, current goes into this cell through the positive terminal, just opposite to it. So now, VA minus VB, so for EMF, here you see it is positive terminal of the cell and it is negative. That means positive means higher, negative means lower. So higher minus lower is positive, that is plus E. And you see current I is flowing in this direction. So definitely this potential is higher and this potential is lower. So higher minus lower is positive, that means plus IR, or V is equal to E plus IR. So here one important conclusion we can draw, that for discharging of the cell, terminal potential difference is less than EMF. But in case of charging of a cell, the terminal potential difference is more than EMF. So it is all about your cell, EMF, internal resistance and terminal potential difference of a cell.